Human Capital Matters is an HR consultancy that focuses on the full HR life cycle. Today, we are talking to Ravi Moodley about the relationship between organizational strategy and HR strategy. Ravi is the Executive Head of Strategy for the National Parliament of South Africa. Now, I've been in the HR game for over 25 years now, and I've been in multiple industries: mining, financial services, retail, marketing. I've worked in multinationals and I've worked at startups. And in those years, I've observed that companies go through periods of mass recruitment as well as periods of retrenchments, consolidation, and restructuring. This, of course, tends to be a very messy exercise, and I have always thought that this could be planned and done in a much better manner. To me, this seems to reflect a disconnect between business strategy and the HR strategy. Ravi, you've been a business strategist for a major portion of your career. Do you have any thoughts on this topic?
Yes, Tani, I tend to agree with your observation. However, I think the first thing I've got to say is that the mass recruitment, retrenchments, restructuring, to me, are not the problems. They're actually symptoms of the problem.
So, what then is the problem?
Well, there's a couple of primary drivers. However, overall, I think I'd like to say it's poor management of the evolution of the organization. Um, the Some of the secondary drivers are, if you look at HR divisions, they often focus on the short-term needs of line functions rather than linking to longer-term organizational strategy. Organizations as a whole also tend to react to earnings. So they let their short-term earnings drive their recruitment, restructuring, and retrenchment needs. Um, what they should be doing is they should look at their longer-term sustainable strategy. Uh, then it's also important to realize is that when dealing with line functions are often going to be short-term orientated. So they are going to look at their needs in the now rather than their medium to longer term organizational needs. So if you are letting short term needs and short term earnings drive your recruitment and what you do in the HR space, right, it's inevitable that you're going to end up with problems downstream. And these problems is materialized in these the need for retrenchments, the need for organizational realignment, the need for organizational restructuring. In fact, you see certain companies seem to be permanently restructuring. And this just on the whole is poor management of the evolution of the organization and bad planning.
So, Ravi, you were saying that the root cause of the problem is the poor management of the evolution of the organization. Can you elaborate more on that and perhaps tell us what you would do differently?
Sure. I think let me start off by explaining a strategic method. Often in strategy, what we look at is we analyze the current state of the organization and then we project a future desired state of the organization. And a key function of strategy is to map out a goal, or to map out a path from that current state to a future desired state. And in between that current state and that future desired state is a gap. That gap needs to be closed in order to make this transition. That's often known as strategic direction or a strategy map. There's many terms which are used. However, the important thing to understand in that evolving from that current state to that future state has a few critical components. Often organizations have a digital strategy as a component, a knowledge management strategy, but almost every single organization that I know of has an HR strategy which is important to make this transition from this current to this future desired state. Uh, Now, that HR plan should be about addressing the skills and the competencies needed in order to transition the organization from the one state to the other. Now, this is simple enough in theory. However, my observation has been that many organizations don't understand this, that you still have HR divisions focusing on rather transactional things, focusing too much on line requirements, or focusing too much on people. I know the last part may seem a bit strange to you when I say it, but there is such a thing as focusing too much on people. I mean, just take the extreme example. Uh, would it be of benefit to anybody to have very happy staff but a dysfunctional organization? Now, to me, it's about the people requirement in order to meet the needs of the business. And that's what should be focused on. Now, the fact is that too many organizations just aren't doing this. So that to me is what it means to poorly manage the evolution of the organization.
So, in essence, what you're saying is that the human resources plan for an organization needs to align and be in sync with the organizational strategy. This includes all elements of the HR plan, like recruitment, leadership development, coaching, training and development, management development, succession planning, indeed, the full HR lifecycle.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. In fact, just to mention something rather funny, in my observation, I've seen that most organizations seem to understand that they need to align their IT or digital strategy to their business strategy, but just seem to forget that their people strategy also needs to be aligned to the business strategy. It's just something worth noting.
Ravi, thank you for your thought leadership with regard to this matter. Human capital matters can enhance and enable your current people strategy or be your people partner of choice to help you sync your HR plan to your organizational strategy. Give us a call. Thank you.